Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the UGAsports.com Quick Take. I am your host, Jason Butt, and we are just a couple days away from Georgia LSU in the SEC Championship. This is a game that Georgia has not fared that well in, really, ever since winning it in 2017 when they defeated Auburn in a rematch. And you're talking about 18 lost to Alabama, 19 lost to LSU. 20 was the COVID year, and somehow Florida made it. 21 lost to Alabama. And here we are again, 22. Georgia is back in the SEC Championship for the fourth time in 5 years. However, just with one win in this particular game. Obviously, if Georgia makes the playoff, it's a moot point. I don't think people will worry about the conference championship if you can still get a national championship. That said, this is the now, this is the moment, and we all know that Georgia wants to win an SEC championship. But why go to this game and lose? That goes without saying, obviously. Now, in order to win this game, they got to get through a pesky LSU team. LSU not great this year in Brian Kelly's first season. In most years, this 9-3 LSU team would be getting ready for whatever bowl game. It wouldn't be in this game. It would be Alabama, maybe Auburn would have been a 11-1 type of team going to this game. And instead, the SEC West is somehow down. A bit surprising. And that's why we got this Georgia LSU matchup. LSU with 3 losses, including a season opener defeat against Florida State. Last week's 15-point loss to Texas A&M, and then a blowout defeat against Tennessee at home. So how does Georgia avoid being an Alabama or a Mississippi and continue to be a Tennessee or Texas A&M against this LSU team? And like a lot of teams Georgia has faced this year, this team, especially offensively, centers around Jayden Daniels, the quarterback. And to me, if they can find a way to stop Jayden Daniels, more so as a runner than as a passer, then they should be in good shape. And this is why. You look at each of these individual games, and there's, it's not even really a common theme, but you look at the 2 losses because you look at the 3 losses. Florida State, I don't really count. That was a weird opener, first game for everybody. But he did have a good game, 114 rushing yards, 209 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. And I say he had a good game, but it was kind of all over the place. It was a lot of numbers, a lot of empty yards, I would say. And LSU trying to rally from behind in that one. But then you get then they go and they win 4 in a row, and then you've got Tennessee. Tennessee, to me, is the blueprint for defeating LSU and stopping Jayden Daniels. With him, I think what you do with him is you let him produce. First of all, your offense has to get out. So don't let this game hang around as a close one. Make sure your offense scores early touchdowns. So that means Georgia has to be good in the red zone. We've talked about that, of late. Then when it comes to stopping Jayden Daniels, though, make sure you contain him as a runner. And against Tennessee, a 40-13 loss, Jayden Daniels ran the ball 16 times for 38 yards. That's only an average of 2.4 yards per carry. Against the meaningful teams, that is his lowest. I take that back. There was one other game that LSU won that he had a lower one, and I just slipped my mind for a second. But so second lowest against a meaningful competition this year, 2.4 yards per carry. So great job from Tennessee and slowing him as a runner. He did throw for 300 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But that's the key. He had the 300 yards. The only time this year, one of 2 times this year, he was able to do that. And but 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So those yards are what they call empty, and that's what you want. When you have a good quarterback and a good offense, you're going to give up yards. The team's going to move the ball, and they're going to have a chance of getting field goals. I think it's very similar to how Georgia played Tennessee. This is how you want to play LSU. And LSU's offense has not been statistically as big as Tennessee's has been all season long. So you look at that game, you say, okay, he might hit some plays throwing the ball, but we got to make sure you contain him as a runner. Because then you look at other games. Look at the Mississippi game, 121 rushing yards. Look at the Alabama game. He was able to get 95 rushing yards. Then you get to the Arkansas game. And that was a game I think a lot of people thought LSU would blow out. All right, LSU would win big, just based on the fact that LSU was rolling at this point, and they were coming off of wins over Florida, Mississippi, and Alabama. You get to Arkansas. Next thing you know, they're able to hold Jayden Daniels to 19 carries for 10 yards. This is the other game I was referencing just a moment ago. 19 carries, 10 yards, and Arkansas, LSU ended up winning only 13-10, thanks to LSU's LSU's defense against an Arkansas team that I believe did not have KJ Jefferson for this game. Yet Arkansas's defense was able to, Arkansas's defense was able to step up and make sure that nothing crazy or that Jayden Daniels was not able to do anything crazy in this game. And so being able to, and on top of that, 8 of 15 for 86 yards. They ended up just holding this game on the ground. For good reason. And then, of course, UAB, Texas A&M. Daniels was able to get going a little bit against Texas A&M, 12 carries, 84 yards. And then UAB's UAB, 12 carries, 111, and a touchdown. That's expected against a team that's not that good. But you guys see my point. It goes back to making sure Hendon Hooker, for instance, was kept in the pocket, and they did a pretty good job of that, not letting him extend plays. When it came to Auburn, same situation. Didn't want him to get going as a runner. Florida, Anthony Richardson, similar situation. Make him pass, and I think that is the key for Georgia in this game, is to make sure that Jayden Daniels is forced. And that's the thing. Jayden Daniels can throw the ball too. I think he can throw the ball. Hendon Hooker is probably the only one of the teams that they've played where they've gone with mobile quarterbacks. Hendon Hooker, maybe Bo Nix. Bo Nix definitely not in the game against Georgia, but as the season went on and other teams he played, those two are probably better than Jayden Daniels. But Daniels is still a very capable quarterback. So the key will be make sure he does not get going as a runner, whether it's in the zone read game, whether it's on the design quarterback runs, whether it's scrambling as a quarterback on a broken play, thanks to some good coverage downfield. You just don't want him getting going with his legs. I think that's the only way that Georgia will find trouble in this game. So, I've obviously already picked on yesterday's quick take. I mentioned how much I actually like the 17.5 point spread in favor of Georgia. So I'm not really expecting a close game in this one. I think if all the players come through for Georgia and play to their potential, this shouldn't be a close one. The only way it becomes one is if Jayden Daniels is able to get loose and do his thing. You just look at the rushing yards. He's their leading rusher for the season, 824 yards, 11 touchdowns. Next is Josh Williams at 481 and 6. So they rely heavily on the ground with the quarterback run. And so while they have some guys, Williams and Noah Cain both average over 5 yards a carry, Daniels is the focal point. It's all about stopping him and making sure the run game isn't able to go through him. And then I think Georgia will be in a pretty good spot if they're able to accomplish that feat. And so with that in mind, I think it's time to conclude today's episode of the UGAsports.com Quick Take. Please, if you haven't, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. Go to the UGAsports.com dog vent and also subscribe there. It's the best UGA sports community on the World Wide Web. And I just want to thank you. You guys are awesome. I've been Jason Butt. Y'all take care.